What should my OT program look like? Hi, I'm Louise Fouché from OTGrow. Welcome to our YouTube channel. Here we discuss tools, tips, and techniques to make you an effective group facilitator. So I had a very interesting question that came in the week of our Q&A. The person could unfortunately not be present, but sent me the following question. And I thought it was quite interesting, and I wondered if you wanted to know what I answered. So the scenario she gave was that she's an occupational therapist at a 24-bed unit, working on her own there at the moment. There is one group per day of 90 minutes, and every Tuesday, a Wednesday, and Thursday, there's a second group that's run. And so she said, how do I structure my occupational therapy program? Because at the moment, how do I fit all 24 people into the program with this limited space I have for occupational therapy? So I thought you might be interested to hear what I would have answered. First of all, maybe just to think for a moment how you would have answered this. 24-bed unit. You've got one occupational therapy group every day of 90 minutes. And then on Wednesdays and Thursdays, you've got an extra group. Also, I think it was also 90 minutes that you can present. So I always like to go back to our principles. So one of the first principles is that occupational therapy groups, the interactive group model, is most effective when we have a closed group and when we have a maximum of 12 people in a group. So even though your unit has 24 or 30 or 50 or 100 clients, the most important principle here is that a group to be effective and therapeutic should have no more than 12 people. A lot of people say, well, what if I get a co-facilitator in? Then surely 12 for you and 12 for me, I can have a group for 24. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. The optimum dynamics that you find is actually between 8 and 10 people. We stretch it for 12. So that was the first principle. How do I then select my 12 people that have the best prognosis and close my groups? So that is the first principle. The second principle is to understand that we don't like to mix different clients on different levels of creative ability using the Vona de Toy model of creative ability. And so passive participation and hire. So I need to make sure that the people that come to my group, the 10 or 12 that I'm going to have in my group, needs to be on passive participation and hire. If they don't, well, then it makes the selection criteria easier. The third principle that I want to be able to address is to say who has the best prognosis, because I want to give them the best possible chance. Whose social participation is lacking and could really benefit from a closed group. And so again, I am selecting from my 24 people, 12 people that I can run through the group. I can close at least from Monday to Friday. It'll be a closed group. All right, so they will run through a normal occupational therapy program. Another principle to have is for us to determine how do we have make sure that people are on passive participation is we have to have an assessment. So is there a way that I can have an assessment so that I can select the most appropriate people who have problems in their social participation and who are on passive participation and higher? So that is all to be incorporated in my planning of my program, including assessments. So now the question is, what do I do with the others, the other 20, the other 12 clients that are left? So you are going to get a natural people coming in and people being discharged going out. And you want to keep your group closed. So the best thing would be is to offer an alternative for those who are not on passive participation, whose prognosis is not so good, or who's most probably only going to be discharged within 2 or 3 days and are not going to be there for a 5-day period minimum to be able to follow this closed group. So there are a couple of things that you can consider. Those two extra groups on Wednesday and Thursday can be opened up for those that are not part of your daily group that is going to be going on throughout the week. If that is also not an option and you want to increase your offerings for your clients that are the other clients in the 24-bed unit, you can consider taking on an OTA, which I know is sometimes really difficult to get OTAs to work. And yes, there are some regulations and you do need to get permission, but it is possible. And there are occupational therapy private practices that are situated at mental health care facilities that do make use of occupational therapy assistants or OTTs, occupational therapy technicians. So maybe you want to get them in, and while you are running your groups, parallel and at the same time, you have an OTA or an OTT that offers a group similar, or sessions that you as an occupational therapist has planned because you've assessed the people, and so you recommend and you refer them for the OT program, stipulating very specifically what activities the OTT and the OTA needs to facilitate and all the precautionary measures for the clients. Alternatively, if that's not an option for you, to maybe consider getting somebody else on board, maybe an occupational therapist that can work for you on a part-time basis. And again, to then parallel to the groups that you are presenting for this closed group with the best prognosis, they are at the same time offering a service for those that are maybe on passive participation, the one day, have a group for them, or to have individual sessions for those that have specific needs, to prepare them possibly for the week after to join the groups. So what is preventing them and what makes their prognosis negative to be included in the group, and are there barriers that can be addressed so that in next week they can be included in the group, and so to have an occupational therapist that will work on those elements specifically. So in broad terms, that was my recommendation. But it'd be interesting to hear what you think. Maybe you have had something similar and you've come up with even better suggestions. And I'd love to hear your comments and your suggestions. This is how we grow as an OT profession, from listening to each other and hearing what's worked for you. What have you tried? So I'm really interested to hear what are your suggestions. Please pop them in the comments below. And in the meantime, for this coming week, maybe just to think, am I using my OT group program to the best benefit of my clients? Or maybe you want to ask, am I making enough space for assessments? And in the meantime, happy facilitation.